I didn't hear back from anyone, but at this point, we just let it bury it. And I sent it
All we can do is put it out there.
I sent it to each of their addresses.
All we can do is put it out there.
And then Donnie's been so busy.
All right, you're on.
All right, this has not come on yet, so what's going on? Okay, here we go. Mouse forward. Zoom. Well, it's so good, we're gonna be able to get the little new landfill attendant building all in this weekend.
Yeah.
Hopefully it won't get canceled again.
Hopefully not.
All right, why doesn't this go down? There we go. Two. I gave them the Zoom contact. Test. Yes. Recycling committee meeting.
Recycling committee meeting.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a couple of people that's been on the Zoom meetings that you can't, like, as the operator, you're supposed to be able to mute and unmute people. Well, there's that one gentleman that comes into our meetings, and I can't mute or unmute him. It's like he has, his computer is in charge. I don't know how that happens, but it's happened with somebody else, with one of the intergovernmental agencies I'm on. Their computer took over and they had to unmute everybody. It's really weird. That's why I would never use this for anything confidential.
No.
All right, we're all set. We're on Zoom. And
All right, well, welcome to the, this is the 9/16/2020 Recycling Committee meeting. And myself and Catherine Ruth are here. And basically what we want to do is get down through our agenda, just get updates and discuss what the main recyclables week and trash to treasure week. So we'll start at the top and work our way down. The composting action plan is still where it was, Catherine.
this is one of this, as well as a few other items, are Donnie Schutz, and he is very busy now with the recycling, new recycling building, and all the controls being hooked up to the new building. That whole project has all been arranged with the electrician and CMP for this weekend. So I don't expect to see him here today, and then once that is finally done, we'll be able to work on some of these other items like the video clips and everything.
Okay. So the building will be going up as scheduled this weekend.
Yes, this is
The reuse building.
second time, and the second time was after COVID-19 started, and it's been 5 months getting the written approval from CMP, because most items have to be done over the phone or on Zoom, email and such.
The school system contacts, we were going to check into that after the first of the year, I believe.
Yeah, and at this point, I think we really need to leave this to see how school goes along, because they're under considerable stress and trying to have everything be safe for the students. And so I don't see any new projects coming up, like working on recycling with the town, until everything settles down with the COVID-19. The fact that schools can go back now is a miracle.
Okay. And the video clips, we'll add that in with the first one, that's an ongoing thing that
Yes.
when things slow down for Donnie and they slow down for some of the department heads and they get the budgets in and things of that nature, we'll be probably looking at more of
Yes, I
that.
expect all of these will be projects that will get started. We're going into our busiest time of the year, it seems, after what we've been through. It seems like we've already been through that, but we're going into a time that will be even busier than it has been since we came back from working at home. And of course, I was working here each day, but we brought all the staff back, and then just dug into all the projects and items to help people. So I think some of these items, which are great items to do, are not mandatory items, so we've had to do the mandatory items first.
Right. The town brochures, they've worked on them.
Yes, and we've only posted those. One of the directions that we received from the CDC is that we're not supposed to have a lot of papers out for touching and people to all touch and, give to each other and everything. So we have all our displays covered over, and we've only put out items that we have to have out for copies, such as sign-up sheets for different programs, because we have to have those. So the town brochure is more of a visual item.
Mhm. So we'll continue to update that when we can, if it needs updating, and people want them, we have them, and we can ask for them at the town office.
Yeah, but it's because we're supposed to limit the amount of paper we have out.
Correct.
This
That's
is
the
not
CDC
a-
recommendation.
Yeah, it's not a mandatory item or something that we have to have out to help the citizens with their regular tasks. People have been doing really good with the recycling, especially happy that the recycling trailer is back here now. But this is more of the promotion of the program and telling of the successes and how much material has been recycled and everything, which is not necessary for people to recycle properly.
Okay. And the adult education, I'm going down through our agenda list. The adult education classes, that's the same thing that we have with the same exact thing we have in the school system contacts. We kind of let things settle and see what the schools and the adult ed are going to look like once this COVID-19. Right now some of the schools are in almost like a model where they have people home for a certain amount of days and then to school, and so we'll continue as a committee to work on this, but there's really not, our hands are kind of tied right now. We kind of have to wait and see what transpires with the school system and how what state mandates come down as it relates to the COVID-19.
I think what they'll end up doing is all the adult education classes will all be online.
Yeah. And if that's the case, we certainly can look at,
We can design something.
Based on an online model. Okay. Ongoing, and possibly online depending on COVID-19. So now we're down to old business. The reuse center is on hold due to COVID-19, and unfortunately due to the passing of the person that runs it, Deanna Tilton, our recycling committee member. Unfortunately, she passed away, which I'm very sorry to see that. My condolences go out to her family. We're going to have to, once the COVID-19 thing, it's been held up due to that, we're going to need to get some more members to volunteer once this opens.
Yes, we'll have to start all over again and see if some of the people that Dina brought in. Dina's passing is a great loss to everyone because she's a wonderful lady, and she did so much for she was the Reuse Center program. And I know she had been anxiously awaiting the reopening, and it just did not come to happen here. So I think that this will end up just being closed the rest of the year, basically. There's other priorities, such as the schools getting in order, the town getting the election in order, are mandatory items here.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, we should set up a process so that people we've had a few yard sales, but not very many this year. But that means people have items, so we should set up a process with Donnie so that during a certain period of time or with a certain protocol, people can go to the reuse center and be met by a recycling or a transfer station employee and be let in and leave items there. And then if we leave them there for a certain period of time, then they'll be deemed like they are at the library. There's a process they go through, but they let things wait for a while before they clean them and then stock them.
So they would contact him if they had items that
Yes,
they wanted.
I've been waiting till he gets his new office in.
Yeah.
And the attendant building. Once that's in, that will settle down a lot of items. And then I think that we could set up a process to start taking all the items that would have gone out to the yard sales, things that people want to dispose of but have no place to go, if it's non-clothing.
Right. Possibly put into the reuse center, at least hang on to it. If it's good stuff, maybe somebody can swap it, or maybe, well, what they'd have to do is disinfecting it and then put it in the reuse center. That's what they'd have to do.
Yeah, they could stack the boxes inside in a certain area, and then it waits for a period of time that it gets disinfected.
Okay, materials. And look at it, and then
I think that's something we can promote for this fall.
yeah.
That way people would be able to get their items they normally would have taken to the yard sales, and the items they would have taken to the facility. And then we'll have a lot of stock for when we have volunteers and it's safe to open the building.
Okay.
The protocols on the thrift shops and reuse and Salvation Army have been, according to people I've talked to, have been hard to follow.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll check with Donnie when he's caught up a little bit and see if he's you know, okay with this, and maybe he can give us some ideas on just how he wants to, if he wants to implement it, and how we can go about it. Like you said, you talked about the recycling trailers back at the municipal building now, and it's going well.
Yeah, so people are very excited, no issues since it's come back on August 24th. Lots of happy people, it's just so convenient now. And we have people, we haven't encouraged this, but we haven't discouraged it. If people come into town from other towns and they have items that are in good condition they want to reuse or recycle, they've been putting them in the recycling trailer. So now with Puritan here, we've got a lot of people coming in from out of town, and you're starting to hear the at the ships dropping off items in the recycling trailer at night.
Okay, now you said the new transfer station fee schedule, that's going well, and how many stickers have we sold?
Yeah, so last night I reported at the council meeting that we had sold 1,133 transfer station stickers. That's for August through December of this year. And Donnie has reported, our transfer station coordinator has reported that over this entire period of time that they have turned away close to 100 vehicles that should not have been allowed to dump. And this is a Saturday issue when the staffing is low or not enough to take care of every function, to go to the brush pile, to go in the recycle building, to be in the landfill building, to use the controls, to be helping people unload, to be watching the stickers. You know, there's a lot of activity going on. So if all the people are in at once, it's easy for vehicles to slip through, but they've been watching for the stickers and explaining to people who, you know, do not have the new sticker that they cannot dump. And what they're finding now is that it's people from other towns that may have property here, like own a piece of land, and they've been bringing their trash from Palmyra or Sullivan. I mean, we've had people come from somebody comes down from Monroe to bring their trash here because they shop here. They just do all their errands on one day. So we've explained out nicely to people that that's not what, we cannot do this. And so they have to go to where Monroe or Sullivan's or Palmyra's transfer station or pickup is, not here.
Okay, so that's going well.
Nobody would have thought we would have Donnie was shocked, and I would not have thought that we would have had this many transfer station stickers. There's a few people that got 2, but very few. And considering that we have 1,264 homes, of which it's estimated 64 are vacant, you know, almost everybody in town has a dump sticker now.
Program is running very well. Now, the textile box at the transfer station has arrived, and could you give for the sake of everybody, could you give us a quick update on that?
Yes, so we, as well as 11 other towns, had contracted with, for no fee, with the Kennebec Valley Council of Governments, which is called KV-COG, a planning agency for approximately 42 towns in the area. So 12 towns, including Pittsfield, took up the offer to have a company from New Hampshire that reuses and recycles clothing and other items. So the boxes arrived last month, and they say clothing and shoes on them. They're at each of the landfills and transfer stations in those 12 towns, including Pittsfield. So it's a new partnership with KV-COG and Apparel Impact from Manchester, New Hampshire. So the citizens in Athens, Chelsea, Fayette, Heartland, Madison, Pittsfield, Skowhegan, Wayne, and Winslow are participating. And so these items are collected on a bi-weekly basis by Apparel Impact, and then either recycled or donated, which takes them out of the solid waste stream. And so there are items such as, it's called textiles, clothing, shoes, purses, bedding, things like, items like that, blankets and things. Items that you could take your clothing to Pennywise, and your shoes maybe, purses, but the bedding was something that we didn't really have a place to go to. We do have recycling committee members who have taken items that have gone to Pennywise that are unable to be utilized by them, and taken them to the shelters, and previously had taken them to animal shelters where they were used as bedding. So this is a good program. It's free to the town.
And it's running very well from what I understand so far. Okay, go down to new business. Trash to Treasure Days and Main Recyclables Week. We had talked briefly at the last meeting about this, and could you give the community update when Main Recyclables Week is? And
It's always the third week in November,
okay, so that would be,
which can have a different date every year.
yeah. So we're talking the third week in November. So just in case anybody wanted to know, we're talking anywhere from the 22nd to that's the fourth week. It'd be anywhere from the 15th through the 21st. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Main Recyclables Week.
And people celebrate this when they want to, really. What works with, when we used to do this, what would work with the schools so that we could go into them. It's just been difficult to do that the last few years because of how the curriculum is set up. And now because of COVID-19, we could not do that. But it really depended on when we could mesh the schedules with MCI and Warsaw and Vickery, and then we would set up different projects. And sometimes it would be outside the third week of November, but we would still call it the recycle period of time. We recycle every day.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, it comes back to the same argument that the schools are tied up with the COVID-19, and we don't know exactly how it's going to look for now. And the Trash to Treasure Days. Did we discuss something about combining maybe something?
We did. This is something, I have seen very few people have yard sales. We've had very few requests for permits. I haven't seen many people with free items out, just a couple of people in town. So I'm wondering, until we get through the COVID-19, how well received this would be, and if we advertise an event at which people went around to all these different locations, and it's not just a citizen doing it, and the town advertised it, we would have to check on the liability and how that would fit under our insurance policy. That would be the first item to do.
Okay.
I had to go through all this on the recreation programs and if we could add anything and how we would do it and everything. So I would have to do that if we thought that there was enough interest from people.
Okay. So the first thing we have to do is check to make sure that we're on good legal ground to start with. Concerning this, I think this is something that we ought to discuss maybe next month and see where we're at in 4 weeks, if it's even doable for now, because
Yeah,
of the
it can take
circumstances.
3 or 4 weeks to get information on something new from the insurance company. Insurance company's not here in town or in Maine, they're in New York.
Yeah. And again, the last item on there is the arts program that would encompass reuse materials. We had discussed that at the last meeting. Deb Billings would be heading that up if it comes to fruition. And that's an ongoing thing, and as things unfold and the COVID-19 gets better, we'll pursue that as well. Anything else that we need to bring up?
No, I think once, Donnie will be able to join us again once he's able to get down to one building at the transfer station here for the attendance shack or the attendance building. You know, this is the culmination of like a 3-year project here.
So the last thing on the agenda today is scheduling the next meeting. And let's see.
So we're gonna be right in budget process here.
I just assumed.
And because of all the backup of different projects and all the requests, the budget period has really been condensed a bit more than last year. So, you know, I think that it would be easier if we communicated by phone and email for the rest of the year.
Okay. Well, why don't we do this?
We could do a Zoom meeting with people. It might help if people were, several people are at work, if they can Zoom in from work.
So that's if we have anything new to report.
Correct, if there's new items. Right now, I think that everybody's going through their mandatory items, and while recycling is very important, these are all extra projects which are not mandatory. They're enhancements which we want to do, but we've got to deal with all of our mandatory requirements first.
How about this? How about if we set up a meeting a regular scheduled meeting for Wednesday, the third Wednesday in January of 2021?
I think that that would be good. Then we can continue doing all the updates for the staff and the committee members through the email, and I could put those things actually on Facebook now too.
January 2021. Okay. And also I'm gonna make a pitch that while we're here on TV and everything and on Zoom, that we're gonna be needing members down the road. Right now, everything's kind of running at a snail's pace because of the COVID-19 situation. But we are going to need volunteers. If anybody's interested in being on the recycling committee in one form or another, you know, we'd like to get back into the schools eventually. We'd like to, when it's deemed that we can do it, I'd like to have the reuse building open back up, especially next year. And we're going to need help. And if anybody's looking to volunteer that would be interested in this sort of thing, please see myself or the town manager or the town employees up there and drop your name. If you see me around town, stop me and let me know that you're interested, and I definitely will put your name out there for the council.
So when the tax bills went out, I added in other items besides the taxes and the supper, making sure that I mentioned the election, the transfer station stickers for 2021, and the dog licenses, as well as all our online services. The dog licenses, we wanted to make sure that people didn't get caught. If they get past a certain date, January 31st, then there's a late fee, which is more than the actual cost to license a dog. And we ourselves have tried to waive this and been ordered by the state to collect it. So we don't want people to have a $25 penalty per dog that they have. So we put that on there. I don't see why we couldn't have you talk with the members and see what projects they'd like to work on. Assign them, there's no reason why they can't work from their homes and do projects and make phone calls over from work. I think that would be helpful. And then at the election, we'll have well over 2,000 people come through. We'll probably have more than we've ever had before for this particular election. And any items that we have, if we're going to do a handout, we're going to have to combine everything because we don't want people touching multiple pieces of paper. But this would be a good opportunity to get information out. We could do something on recycling or look for volunteers or add that into the mix of the items that are important for handouts.
Sounds like a good idea.
I know we shouldn't have, many handouts, but that is if we had one handout that covered, 10 or 12 areas packed full of information on one sheet of paper, that should be fine. Instead of having 12 handouts like we normally would have.
I agree. Okay, that reaches the end of our agenda, so I'm going to adjourn this meeting of the Recycling Committee Wednesday, September 16th, 2020, and we will meet officially again in January on the 3rd Wednesday at 5 p.m. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We'll end this meeting. And I'll turn off the town lines.